But tell me, no, tell me. I saw a video that you posted about how religion starts, right? And it
Yeah.
seems like for a man who's so infatuated by this mythopoetic, this ancient story tradition that we have, that you feel like your sense of religion to me appears very reductive, that it sort of appears as a means of rationalization, is sort
Hmm.
of your claim. I wonder if there is a deeper understanding you personally hold of religion, and there was a social requirement to put
Well,
it
I'll tell you what I understand, and you can decide if it is deep or shallow.
there. Okay.
But I think religion is inevitable, which by which I mean that a football club is as much religion as Buddhism is, which means that human beings, by merit of being the kind of animal that they are, which is an imaginative animal who uses language, we will always create tribes, and a lot of the things that go into the making of those tribes are going to be of the imaginary kind. So gods are inevitable, deities are inevitable, heroes are inevitable, spirits and magical properties of natural objects are inevitable. The thing that I do personally, because okay, so when I was a kid, you know how kids stuff toy pistols into their beds and play cowboys, etc. When I was a kid, I was the kid who did that. But when I was back to school or when I was eating, I kept the guns aside.
Hmm.
So my entire thing, my whole life has been that there is a line between reality and fiction. I create fiction for a living. It's my bread and butter.
Hmm.
I go really deep into it, like how myth relates to storytelling, how literature creates the foundation of civilization, all that. I think that is where religion came from.
Hmm.
And there is no universe where that was impossible.
Hmm.
We are always going to have religions.
Hmm.
What we can do is keep ourselves aware of what they are.
Hmm.
Because the moment we forget that religions were stories that we ourselves created, we run into trouble.
Hmm.
Because we start killing actual human beings in defense of ideas that we ourselves created. And I think human beings are more important.
Right. It's not just that human beings are more important, but what you're defending at the cost of a human life is absolutely intangible and probably will reattain equilibrium if you don't kill either. Right? It's this constant feeling that my faith is being hedged in the background, so I will take
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah. So if I don't kill this person in front of me, my thousands of years of culture and religion will cease to exist tomorrow.
Right.
That is what.
One of the
Your
more
religion is going to survive. Your religion survived before you. It's going to survive after you. It's way more powerful than you are ever going to be.
Hmm.
The things you do in your life you are responsible for.
Hmm.
And your religion has, zero. Uh,
You have
your
zero
religion
claim.
doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah, your religion doesn't give a fuck.
Right. It's I was speaking to somebody about it, and in the course of it I started wondering. I was like, it is so funny that we are willing to defend with death something that we did not earn but we inherited. Right. This
Yeah,
idea that, I mean, I did not choose to be a Hindu. I was never given an option. I was just raised with those stories, and by the time I was in a decision making age, those stories were ingrained in me. And now
yeah,
I will vouch for the fact that those stories have some great things to say, some wonderful, fantastic things to say, but I will not
yeah.
sweat too much on account of defending that tradition.
Yeah, I think I am a little bit more traditional than that also, because I
Mhm.
will totally defend my traditions.
Mhm.
But I will also fight against the interpretations that those traditions are being put to right now.
Mhm. Mhm. How
Like
do
there
you know
are
your interpretation
names,
is correct?
because it does not involve killing people.
And so, can you say that a system that was meant to govern everything from politics to legality to ethics to morality to social systems to hierarchies to everything would not have an element of self-preservation in it? Like the reason why these religions continue to live was because they eliminated all the other competition. So the system of killing is
I'm totally in favor of self-preservation as long as you're killing the people who are actually against you and not the people who are surrounding you. I
Hmm.
think self-preservation is obviously an evolutionary goal that every living being has.
Hmm.
But if you are being chased by a bear, but you end up shooting arrows at another animal,
Hmm.
then you are going to die
Hmm.
because the bear is intact and you're attacking someone who's not even against you.
Hmm.
So a lot of things that happen in the name of religion right now, we are invoking our gods to commit murder and stuff.
Hmm.
It's painful. for a Hindu to watch. It's
Right.
painful because these are not things that I, as a Hindu, associate my religion with.
So how do we identify this phantom killing phenomena where I am not really killing the actual enemy, if there is one at all, when all I'm doing is killing a phantom enemy that I'm creating, imagining for myself? How do we
Yeah.
identify where not to kill and where is it okay to self-preserve?
I think the first step has to be uh, you have to understand what imagination is and how much in its power you are. People don't realize that. So a religious story is a very old story, but a story of a comic book superhero is a rather new story, and we don't know that they're both stories. The old story is so old that we have forgotten that it is a story. When we realize that it is a story, and that it is a story very much like the stories that we're telling right now, we understand that it is not something absolute. So an understanding of literature can be brought into an appreciation of religious texts, and thereby we can maybe become more capable of picking and choosing which aspects we keep,
Hmm.
because a book that was written 1000 years ago is not going to be completely relevant to the conditions that we live under right now.
Hmm.
If we appreciate that, if we accept that, then we are halfway there, and the rest is groundwork,
Right.
paperwork.
But it's sort of, I'm trying to help you. If somebody's ever listening to this and they're of the opposite predisposition politically than you are,
Hmm.
I'm trying to help you make a case, or at least solidify your stance on this issue. So I'm going to push you a little bit further and tell me how this works out. My concern is that in the kind of chaos that we live in, where signaling between systems, between people, media, parliaments, activists, all of that is so unclear, and there is so much cause to worry about ulterior motives, it becomes very
Hmm.
difficult for me to sort out who the real enemy of my stories is and to what extent a damage is sustainable, is appreciable to preserve my stories. Right? So given this scenario where if somebody knocks on my door tomorrow and I'm living somewhere near Delhi, and they're like, listen, these guys are trying to desecrate an idol of Ram in the nearby temple, right? How do I know if that warrants me taking my sword or my gun out? How much of that can be solved with how do I decide in this chaos?
I think it's not a decision that's going to happen when someone is at the phone and telling you that. It's going to happen over a longer period of time with, as I said, the understanding that Ram doesn't need your help, and that desecration of a statue and murder of a human being are things that should not be even in the same sentence being compared to each other, because one is a work of imagination, one is a work of history, one is a cultural artifact so robust that you and seven other generations of your family will not be able to destroy it. So how is an attack on a statue going to affect the lives of you and your family?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when you get to that point, you can then perhaps counterbalance that decision you made about going out and saving your culture with how useful is it to me to alienate my own neighbors, to attack actual living people who I have spent my entire life with, and hopefully come to the conclusion that imagination is very important.
Hmm.
But I serve my religion more by being nice to people, because in the beginning, the reason religion came into being was to strengthen society.
Hmm.
And our instinct for tribalism is now breaking apart the tribes that we are in.
Hmm.
If we broaden our idea of what our tribe is, so there is a Hindu tribe, there is a Muslim tribe, and they both exist inside the Indian tribe.
Hmm.
But our tribal instincts, which are go to war with anyone who questions my tribal beliefs, if we allow those instincts to exist inside the India tribe, then the India tribe breaks apart.
Then there
Maybe
is a
the Hindu
civil war. Please finish your last sentence again for me.
maybe the Hindu tribe becomes stronger, maybe the Muslim tribe becomes stronger, but that strength is going to come at the cost of a lot of paranoia and pain.
Hmm. Hmm.